I think it's good, like, as we are not hurrying, and like I maybe can already explain a bit of the structure, even though like it's written in the meetup group. But yeah, usually we wait a bit, especially since like probably this is still very early in the evening, and maybe some people, a few people already reached out to me that they won't make it this time. But yeah, so first of all, thanks everyone who joined in already, and of course we will wait a bit more. But for the structure, maybe a short warm up. This is like the first user group meetup since I don't know actually when it was the last one, but this group was a bit sleepy throughout like the last COVID crisis. But yeah, we are happy to be back here and to announce some cool talks, as well as if you have anything which is interesting, which you would like to hold a talk or something, it's always possible just to reach out here, either to us directly or also in the group, and just to submit a talk. In the landing page, there's also this call for speakers, so we are always happy when there's a contribution. It doesn't matter if it's like a short one or like a more detailed presentation. That's super cool. Yeah. Mohammed is actually sharing it right now, so yeah, we are basically just asking a few things, and usually we check this up internally. But yeah, as long as it's related to HashiCorp Cosmos, I think everything is very great to hear. So yeah, that's always welcome. And for today's topic, Mohammed will share a bit of his, like I would say, tooling box all around Terraform, especially from the globaldatanet side, what we are using to enhance Terraform itself, like what kind of cool tools are out there to, I don't know, make our life easier, make our life more efficient. And we are also happy in the end to maybe see your insights and experience with it. If you have any questions, of course, or also if you want to just see a bit more in detail about like a specific topic which Mohammed mentioned, or you just want to share like your experience with either one of those tools or any other tools. Yeah, that's mostly it. And other than that, like just having a chilled evening and yeah, enjoying what Mohammed will be sent to us. I don't know, what do you think, Mohammed? How much should we wait? Like till 40 maybe, and then we slowly start?
Yeah, 2 minutes doesn't harm, I guess. So
Yeah,
let's wait.
sounds good.
And also thank you everyone for joining. Yeah, so this is like Fabian said, this is a warm up for the project. So yeah. Okay, I guess we can start. Yeah, this is it. Fabian, okay, thank you, Fabian. So yeah, guys, this is it. We are rolling back with HashiCorp User Group in Hamburg after like cool off time, and yeah, we just want to kick things up and tell you from our globaldatanet sites or insights what the tools that we are using for Terraform. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this this meetup. This is a meetup, not like a webinar or event. So feel free to jump in anytime with any question, even if you want to mention something out of band of what we are showing here, that's fine. Again, it's a meetup, so we can, you know, get to know each other and roll in or kick back the HashiCorp meetup. Yeah, so I guess globaldatanet. So we are cloud native enthusiasts who love to use serverless or cloud native application and deployments to help customers deploy their state-of-the-art application actually. And Terraform is one of the tools that we use heavily to design the infrastructure and then, you know, deploy these optimized or cloud native applications. And actually we are HashiCorp and AWS advanced partners and consultants. So yeah, if you are in Germany or any other worldwide and you need some help into like anything related to AWS, yeah, just reach us. Yeah, actually before doing or jumping, let's see what's new about in the HashiCorp ecosystem. Actually, there is a nice way I can show you guys that you can follow here. So maybe you have your own RSS reader or feeder that you use to read news or blogs. So yeah, just if you are on the HashiCorp board, or even you can apply this to anything like AWS, Kubernetes, Docker, or whatever technology you are interested in, you can follow the same approach. And yeah, so we feel that let's mention what's new in the past couple of weeks for HashiCorp. So the first thing is that HashiCorp made Vault or as an add-on on the AKS for Kubernetes on AWS. So that's will make it really easy for you to deploy AKS as part of your infrastructure. So let's say you are using AKS for application orchestration and you want to, before doing that on the infrastructure level, when you deploy your VPC and AKS on the same level, you can also deploy Vault as part of the infrastructure for your application to be installed. So that's something cool actually, and it's already supported by Terraform, so you can use that AKS blueprints here from AWS Infrastructure Automation. This is a good organization on GitHub that you can follow, and you can see that you can easily deploy HashiCorp Vault. If you never used Vault before, Vault is like security as a service. You can use that for encryption as a service, generating temporary access for AWS, or generating secrets, encryption, all of the things that you need as a security wise you using on your application can be done with HashiCorp Vault. So yeah, let us know if you are interested to see something like on Vault also, like a deployment on AKS, or how a typical use case can be, so we can arrange that in the future also. Other than that, there is a bunch of blog posts and videos. So the HashiCorp YouTube channel is always updating and uploading videos, so keep an eye on that. Yeah, what else we can see? It's always always about about Vault. And yeah, there is a series here, I love it actually, from Gina and Cole from HashiCorp and AWS. So this is like a really, if you need to learn about console, I already watched some of it, so it's gonna walk you through how to deploy console as a service mesh for your microservices in AWS. So this is a good thing to follow also. Yeah, one thing that we should mention, I guess, is that HashiCorp already achieved the DevOps competency for AWS, but this time on the DevSecOps approach, and this is a new category I think they opened. So HashiCorp already achieved that using Terraform, Vault, and Console, I guess. and also Senetel as policy as a code. And yeah, so there is an update for Waypoint. If you didn't know Waypoint is like CI/CD on steroids that you can use actually to build, deploy, and release. It's follow the same approach as Terraform, where you can encapsulate the underlying services, like if you are using GitHub or GitLab or something else. So Waypoint encapsulate that CI/CD backend for you, and you can have unified pipeline across different things, different platforms. And I guess also if you're interested on that, so we can also spend some meetup about Waypoint. Actually, we are very interested in Waypoint, but still, as you can see, in early versions, 0.8. Yeah, that's, I guess, pretty much on the last couple of weeks. Console has updated something with hardening, and Console starts supporting Kubernetes more and more these days. Vault 1.0 is updated, is out with OpenID Connect support, and the cool features also being supported here and there. So yeah, that's how you can keep up with the news. If you can see also, there is I guess let me see. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it. There is events also, upcoming events. I guess there is HashiConf, so in the next couple of weeks is coming, and yeah, that's what I think you should know about. This is we are calling, so anyone guys feel free to jump in. So we have the following dates: May 19th and June 16th. So these are the slots that you can choose. So anyone, please feel free to scan the code here, the QR code, and fill up the type form, answer a few questions, and then we can arrange to make you host for the next event. So please feel free, if you have anything interested and that you want to share with the rest of the group or the world, so please do so. And yeah, maybe you are gonna be the next speaker for us. So yeah, quickly, I'm Muhammad, working with globaldatanet for like 2 years and almost 3 years now. And yeah, I'm already community builder for AWS, and this year I was lucky to be a HashiCorp ambassador. And yeah, today we're gonna mention about the supercharged tools that we are using on globaldatanet. And yeah, that's me, I guess. So yeah, so if you work with Terraform, so you should already know this. When you run a plan, you should read the plan, otherwise you're gonna end up destroying your infrastructure. So always keep an eye on the building stage, and these tools actually gonna help you avoid being in a mistake, and avoid just helpful with your Terraform experience, and bring actually the DevSecOps mentality into your Terraform development. And also one thing to note, that this is not about best practices. Actually, we have Anton Babinko here. He threw up a really nice Terraform best practices that you can reach out to and read. So this is website from Anton, and like I said, we are not mentioning best practices. We are only mentioning the tools that you can use with this type of guides to create the ultimate or the best experience when you developing or delivering solution with Terraform. So yeah, feel free to even translate if you can. So this is a really nice one that you can follow. And yeah, so back to the tools.
I just want to add, so thanks for mentioning this one.
With linting. So a lot of people doesn't aware that there is a small tools on Terraform itself, and even like external open source tools that you can use to create a nice linting experience. If you are coming from software engineering background, you already know that linting is important. especially if you are developing on your local machine or using the CI/CD tool for automation. So yeah, linting is important. Starting with format, I guess, yeah, a lot of people I found that they are missing format. By format we mean, so yeah, before jumping right away into this stuff, we should mention that if you go to GitHub globaldatanet, you can find HARDS repository, okay? And in the HARDS you can find that there is a bunch of tools, AWS Access, VS Code extension, anything we're gonna see on this event is already here. And also this will be host our future Hamburg User Group, so you can always get back here and find interesting topics if you want. So I'm gonna share with you guys on Google Meet if you're interested. So yeah, please feel so. Yeah, so back now to VS Code. Yeah, so this is the repositories that we're gonna use for testing. And yeah, if we check actually Terraform dash help, so we can find that there is interesting commands here that you can use, like formatting, and there is also let's see, okay, test is experiment, okay, that's coming, and there is also validate. So if you can think about including these two commands like formatting and validating into your pipeline, that should be really cool. And the idea behind this event is that we want to show you how you can use these tools on your development local machine. Then you can upgrade this in your organization into the CI/CD tool that you are using. So this is like really important. So let's draw something here. So let's say you are starting locally in your machine. Okay, you are testing something, you are making sure that you are enriching or enhancing your Terraform experience. Then what you can do is that then you can create a CI/CD pipeline and generalize the approaches that we're gonna mention into your organization. So that's why we start with like local machine or developers machine. Okay, these development environments need to be up to date with stuff and best practices, and then you can generalize this into your organization and create a pipeline after that. So what we are to summarize, play with this, understand these tools, what they are doing, what they are offering for you, and then generalize the idea into your clients or your organization if you want. So yeah, like I mentioned, so okay, we found that there is interested commands here on the Terraform, like format and validate, and then we're gonna use that. So I suppose we can run something like okay, let's accept this. So Terraform, I have alias for Terraform like TF, and then format. So okay, nothing, I guess I'm using a formatter here, so we will see on shortly how you can benefit from VS Code extensions here. Okay, so the other command should be validate. Okay, I found that the configuration is valid. Okay, so I'm thinking let's include these two commands in my pipeline, but like we said, let's start small. Let's test the pipeline locally, then we can generalize that. So one thing can be done is that you can create a bash script to automate your commands. Some people love to use makefile. On globaldatanet, we found that taskfile is really cool technology that we can use. Taskfile, guys, is just a task runner. It's a makefile alternative that's written in Go. But the beauty is that you can use templating, and you can use like small testing environment. So makefile has been like forever out there, right? And it's stable as hell. That's we all agree on that. But if you need something like really a new kid on the block and something really cool, really have these nice features that you can use, so we prefer to use taskfile. And yeah, so feel free if you need a task runner for your Terraform or local commands. It's really helpful. So task file written in YAML, and yeah, following just the YAML format. And as you can see, let's scroll down a little bit and found, okay, we defined a build stage or a build task, and we are saying, okay, adding format and validate to our typical workflow, right? And we call this build stage. So in building, we can make sure that we can initialization the modules and the backend, we can formatting correctly, validate and plan. So if you install task, so you just run task and then build, so you can call the commands or the YAML declaration on this task file.yaml file. Or if you run task -l, you can see what's included on this task file. So let's run task build and see. And by the way, we are targeting local folder. So if you're Terraform, if you following, could be like another meetup, how you can lay out your Terraform template. So yeah, don't worry about this now, but we are running Terraform against the local folder. Okay. Okay, so I guess, yeah, that's for format and validate, nothing fancy. I guess most of you know this. So yeah, if we go back, there is a TFLint. So TFLint is open source tool written in Go that is doing like trying to do linting for Terraform. If you work with Python, with other programming language, there is already linters out there. But for Terraform, since it's a declarative language, there is nothing much. But this project is really cool. And yeah, I guess they deserve a star here. And yeah, you can jump in right away and install it. It's really easy. Yeah, by the way, to make it easy for you guys, at the root level of the repository, we include a task file that will, if you're using the Mac, will help you with installing the requirements tools that we are using for this session. So you can see it's installing bunch of stuff and even register infra cost for you, and also doing extra. So there is also some super lintings that we're gonna mention shortly, like trunk or pre-commit, actually from Anton, who is with us now. So shout out to him. Yeah, so we will see. So yeah, if you use the root level task file, you can install these packages or tools using Pro on Mac, of course. Sorry, there is no Windows alternative, but I guess you can use Scoop or Chocolatey from Windows to install this in automatic way. Yeah, so TFLint, and if you can see, read the README, there is a bunch of stuff. And okay, I need to learn about HashiCorp, Amazon plugins. So there is a rule set. I need to do this, I need to do that. So again, that's why we are using the task file. You shouldn't worry about this. So you should set up TFLint once, and then if you share your task file with your colleagues or your clients, you can make sure that all of you are using a consistent workflow when developing or development with Terraform, and this consistent workflow can be generalized into a CI/CD pipeline. We're gonna mention some of custom or let's say SaaS providers for Terraform pipelines, and most of these people on the background or underlying their SaaS solution, they are using something like this, like, okay, we are using linting, we are using infra cost, we are using drift detection, we are using security checks. So at the end, if you start small and start generalizing your pipeline, you can find out you can have similar approach to these SaaS providers for CI/CD pipeline. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna mention that shortly. Okay, we created a task file for TFLint, so let's run that. So again, task TFLint. Okay, and we can find that the AWS already installed. So like I said, you don't need to know about the tool itself, just document and think of this. Actually, this task file, we always think of that as a document for our manual task or manual CLI commands. And okay, we can find that there is something wrong with a comment on line 9 on main. Okay, this is not allowed. So for TF-lint rules, you can think of, there is a general rules that you can see, okay, and check. So let's go back. If you go to rules on TF-lint, you can find a bunch of, like, this is best practices one. So this is not mandatory. We don't force you to use them, but at least it's gonna give you at the end achieve a clean or quality Terraform module if you are written one for public use, or if you are written modules or templates for your customers or clients. These make sure that you are providing a quality Terraform code. By quality, I mean there is always a description for inputs or outputs or variables. You are using a consistent code style. You are always defining the variables. You are always defining constraints on versions or providers or modules. You are always bin source. So if you provide by quality Terraform code, you can make sure that when there is, as you know, huge updates in the Terraform ecosystem, right? The modules from Anton and the guys always being updated. Terraform providers always updating. Terraform binary version itself is always updated. So once you forget to bin a version or using the specific version, Terraform will fail in future for your clients. So make sure you are following 12-factor application methodology in your Terraform, and always explicitly define your requirements. In Terraform, if you think about requirements or packages on Django or on Python or on Node.js, think about modules, source of the modules and providers, and binary version as your requirements on Terraform. This way, you can think better about making sure that you're going to have a consistent outcome if the future binaries or providers or even modules being updated by themselves. So okay, you can find, okay, we are missing also modules should include an empty outputs.tf. We are not using that. And okay, profile variables has no description. Of course, we leave something for future improvement. So you can add, for example, here like description and say that this is like AWS profile or something. Okay, that's nice. So now, if we go back, okay, so format, validate, and TF-lint, if you are using a pipeline, like GitLab pipeline, Bitbucket pipeline, GitHub Action pipeline, think about adding these into your pipeline if you are using that for Terraform, and you will not regret that. Or at least use a task file locally and develop and provide that for your team or your client to use to make sure that you are producing quality Terraform code base. Okay, that's it about linting. So you can think about, for example, if you need to build this into a script, maybe you can include initialization, format, validate, plan, and lint within the same like build stage if you want. We have done that for clients also. And the last one with linting is the documentation. So Terraform docs is really nice to again contribute or produce quality Terraform code base. So Anton and the guys already on the Terraform ecosystem use this heavily, and they automated this tool to its deepest level. So what we love to use, if you include a README file into your Terraform code base, so we already have something for that called tfdoc, a task file. that will generate markdown and output into readme.md. So if you work with Terraform docs before, you can find that this is this comments here, between these comments everything will be affected. So let's generate, now we have inputs and outputs. So let's run task tf doc again, and we can see it's already updated, and that's really nice to have here. So if we check, you can find that okay, your Terraform code base now is like well formatted, has inputs, outputs, has description, has been in the version, and also has a documentation. So anyone within the team gonna work after you on those Terraform code base, it's gonna be really easy for them to pick it up. Yeah, that's pretty much about linting, I guess, in general. Okay, the next tool or the next stage is the security checks. This is fairly new actually. When Terraform was out there, nothing much on the DevSecOps part of Terraform, but now there is a lot of tools that you can use. We prefer to use TFSec, but also there is a worth mentioning tool like Chekhov, CloudTrail, there is Terraform Scan, a lot of things. So this is fairly or really important to include in your pipeline or developer experience. And again, we have a task file for that. Let's close this. Go to task file. So again, task file is like documentation for commands. You don't need to remember them. You don't need to worry about them. So there is a TFSec here. Just run Terraform scan. By the way, TFSec is from, it was developed open source by a guy called Owen and a bunch of open source enthusiasts. But Aqua Security acquired TFSec, and they start getting Aqua Security is well known on like Docker side, like Trivy for scanning Docker images, but they now acquire TFSec and doing actually a good job with security findings for Terraform. This is again really important, and you can find actually if you search on VS Code, there is also an extension for this one. But again, let's keep it simple and use the CLI, because if you can do the CLI on your local machine, you can do it on the CI/CD pipeline. That's the idea here. So let's run task TFSec. Okay, there is a bunch of stuff or findings. Let's see. By the way, our main or CD or dummy application is just deploying S3 bucket. Okay, for us. So yeah, let's see. There is a result with high, no public access, so not public access list. We should enable S3 public access. And yeah, by the way, we are using provider. Let me show you. We are using provider version 4. So if you know the AWS provider, before version 4, the S3 buckets has like strict S3 resources, but after version 4 they are scattered or like using specific Terraform resources for specific thing with S3 bucket. So it's not more as argument within the same resource, it's now like dependent resources together, right? So that's something worth mentioning when we are running TFSec. So that's the first finding, that we should block the public access. And then another one for the public policy should be also explicit. We are not enabling encryption, so that's expected because we want this resource to be vulnerable by design. And yeah, no public access block within that. And you can also jump in, this is the really cool part, if you need to jump into like the findings, you can do that easily, right? So I'm gonna give you how to like mitigate or overcome the limitation on here. So yeah, that's really cool from TFSec. And actually Chekhov worth mentioning, I already installed that. This is another tool. So if we go to, let's see, HashiCorp Terraform. Yeah, from Bridge Crew, this guys also was like pioneered on this type of stuff, and yeah, you can look at them. Chekhov actually also support scanning Docker, scanning Kubernetes, YAML file, or Helm file if you use that. So yeah, even CloudFormation. So again, it's up to you. We don't bias towards any tool at all. We find the tool that suits us and use that. But if you feel, you can easily jump into Chekhov, and also there is CloudRail from Indini. So these guys also have let me see, yeah, there is 2 CloudRails. So yeah, I guess these guys have like CloudRail from Indini, and yeah, they are using also security checks, but I think we should mention that they give like better performance. And yeah, you can test their free community tier if you want, or even Chekhov, or even TFSec. I mean, it's up to you. Just test whatever work with you and use that. This is the important part. Yeah, okay, so what about if I need to enforce a policy, right? So let's say on a global datanet we cannot deploy anything without a tag. So we are using here a simple terraform.tfvars file. So yeah, there is a tag, should be like cost or I'm not sure, organization unit equal to something like space. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are using specific tags or specific regions. So TFSec or these security checks finding will not provide you with that. These are only for compliances or for making sure that you are following best practices in security, or you are hardening something, or you are developing insecure or to be insecure by design. But what about if I need to enforce a policy like don't use other regions, or tags should include organization unit? So for that there is OBA and conf test. OBA is from Cloud Native Association, which is I think it's a graduate project now from Cloud Native, and you can use OBA for enforcing your infrastructure or your organization policy, by the way. So if we check the example in Terraform, we can find that we need to export the plan into JSON and then run OBA against the JSON plan, the generated one. So it's written in Rego programming language. It's just a simple, straightforward one, nothing fancy. So you can write your own, and then at the end run OBA for evaluate the policy. There is a lot of examples, and there is also Rego that you can use with that. So feel free to add your own policies and including these on the pipeline. But for now, at least for us, to keep it simple, at least use a security check, so you can find that you can improve your security. So you can always don't miss if you need to encrypt something, like if you are using ECR or S3 bucket or EBS or RDS or anything that need encryption. TFSec will really help you with encryption, everything encrypted. And if you are using security groups, anything else, it will be really helpful for you. So if you need the bare minimum requirement, use the TFSec or alternative for security checks. If you need to take it to the next level with your organization, always use OBA and write your own custom policies, right? Yeah, that's it. The third one is infra cost. So we start with linting and then security checks and policy. The third one that we recommend is that the infra cost. Infra cost is open source project, again starting small, and it has a really nice cost estimation or breakdown for your infrastructure, and this is part of the FinOps. So if you are thinking about SecOps in security checks, you can also think about FinOps on your Terraform code base. So you don't even provide quality and secure code base for Terraform, but also a calculated or estimated costs for your infrastructure. So imagine if you deliver this to your customer. Okay, this is the code base. The code base is already well secure. This is the proof by using security scan. This is the policies that customer requirement, and also this is the expected cost if you need to deploy that solution. So imagine if you are preparing a Terraform solution or architect for your clients, and you have all the answers. Like, okay, what's the security postures? You already have that. What's the expected cost estimation? You already have that. So that's again will make you produce or deliver quality Terraform code base or work. Something to mention that not all resources is supported by infra cost, but again, it's good to have. Back to our task file, if we can check. Okay, we have a long Terraform or infrastructure command that is already documented and passed down. So we're gonna run that against the local path again, and we are pass down Terraform .tf files. This is a silly dummy file, nothing there, but again, let's see. So task, what we can call it, task tf cost, yes. So it will run Terraform plan for you. There is a multiple way to run infra cost. By the way, you can run against state file or generated plain file, or even let them do it for you. So let's see. Okay. So we have S3 bucket, and we have expected breakdown of the price. So this is for request. This is the standard tiering for S3, and this is not helpful, right? So what we can do is that we can use a usage file like this one, okay, and let's put, okay, I want to use 700 gigabit of storage on my S3 bucket for the solution I'm gonna deploy. So I want to make sure that there is a lot of things that you can add to make sure that you calculate in price, specifically the price in a very specific way. So let's run Terraform cost again and see if we can calculate something. Okay, let me okay, I don't need to send to the use file. So because it's updated this one. Okay, if I'm using 700 gigabyte for my solution or example or dummy example, let's say I want to deploy a S3 bucket for backup something from on-premise to AWS, and I'm expecting that to be 700. So whatever example that we are doing at the end, infra cost is gonna give you a good indication for your deployment for Terraform. So let's imagine you are adding like ECS cluster, ECS services, ALB, a load balancer, RDS on multi-AZ deployment, maybe Elastic Cache, whatever, EBS, EFS, anything you can think of. If you can calculate the overall price, it's gonna give you, if maybe you are doing something wrong, maybe you are not optimizing your Terraform deployment. Also, this is, if you think about this into running this into a GitHub action pipeline, if your coworker or your colleague is doing a huge increase in cost by including, like, let's say a NAT gateway per subnet, right? So they are using the multi or high availability NAT gateways. Instead of using one NAT gateway, they are using like multiple NAT gateways. So that's like $100 increasing by only using that. Alright, so running or including this one infra cost in your pipeline, it's really is really cool. I guess I can show you an example. Let me just just a second. Okay, it's not here. Where it is? 2 seconds. Yeah. So this is a project that we running for a client, and it's include like a VPC endpoint. This is for scanning the VPC or network stack. By network stack, we including like VPC endpoints, VPC flow logs, CloudWatch group, KMS key for encryption, the CloudWatch. So yeah, this is including what is being paid, and at the end what is free, like using VPC route subnet and IAM role, KMS alias. So what's free, what's not free. So that's very good to give you indication what need to be improved if your deployment is like very high or something like that. Okay, and yeah, this is a typical also pipeline. So we start with linting, like I just show you guys. This is a client pipeline, by the way, and enterprise client also. We are using linting for them, then planning, then analyze. By analyzing, we include the cost estimation for them and also the security scan finding. This is a GitLab, by the way, GitLab pipeline. And then we deploy, and then we're doing scanning for drifting. So we will see this in a bit. But this is what we are trying to achieve on our task file is already included here. Okay. Yeah, really cool. Okay, Fabian, do you want to take over if we have any question or something?
Sure. Sure. So
I'm gonna grab a glass of water.
Sure. Yeah. First of all, I see in the chat that like Anton has shared with us like the weekly Terraform. So that's definitely worth to subscribe and check out like the.
We cannot hear you, Fabian.
You cannot hear me?
We can hear him.
I think you cannot hear us. Maybe.
I can hear Fabian.
Yeah.
I can hear you too.
Guys, can you hear Fabian? I guess I cannot. Okay.
Nevertheless.
I cannot hear you. Why is that? Oh, because I'm recording.